Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the lecture of functional analysis. Whether I am audible clearly to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. In the last lecture, we have started the new topic of Hilbert spaces. Hilbert spaces are actually based on inner product spaces. Therefore, we have seen the definition of an inner product in the last lecture. Inner product itself is nothing but a product, one kind of a product between the two vectors. In the last lecture, I have told you in detail how this is going to be a generalization of a dot product, and dot product is a generalization of a multiplication. Then, knowing the definition of an inner product, in today's lecture we are going to understand some properties of the inner product spaces along with the example. Okay, therefore let me share my screen. Is the screen visible clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now this is what we'll just recall the points we have studied in the last lecture. This is what a definition of an inner product. Inner product is defined on a vector space X, F be any field. Then inner product is a function defined on X cross X to a field F which satisfies the following properties. What are the properties? 4 properties are given in our first property of the inner product spaces is inner product of a vector X with itself. That is, inner product XX is always non-negative. Second property is if inner product XX is equal to 0, it implies and implied by the vector itself is 0. The first two properties together will be called as positive definiteness. Third property is inner product of XY conjugate is nothing but inner product of Y with X. This property is called as conjugate symmetry. Fourth property is inner product of alpha X plus beta Y with Z is equal to alpha times inner product X with Z plus beta times inner product Y with Z. Okay, this property whatever we have written, this is very similar to a multiplication property we are writing right now. That is, if alpha plus beta multiplication is taken with gamma, then we are writing this as alpha dot gamma plus beta dot gamma. This is what on a parallel lines we have written. Okay, therefore any function inner product, if it satisfies these 4 properties, is called as an inner product. Later we have studied inner product spaces. A linear space X together with inner product is called as an inner product space. Okay, that is very similar to a non-linear space. A linear space together with norm, that is, if the distance function is defined as norm, then this is called as a normed linear space. Similarly, if the multiplication between the two vectors of a linear space X is given with the help of inner product, then the space is called as inner product space. Okay, there are some remarks we have discussed in the last lecture. If the corresponding field defined, what is this field? F, right? This field F, if it is taken to be the field of real numbers, the inner product space, the inner product is called as real inner product space. If it is taken complex, then it is called as complex inner product space. Okay, next property is the inner product of an ordered pair XY is always scalar. This is quite but obvious, because if I am taking the codomain of the function inner product as field, then the inner product must be a scalar quantity. Okay, this notation for the inner product we are using as angle brackets, right? Here we have used a notation for the inner product as angle bracket. These are called as angle brackets. I'll write the name here. These are called as angle brackets. Right. Now instead of the angle brackets, one can use the simple brackets also. That is, inner product X with Y can also be denoted with this symbol. Usual simple brackets X comma Y. Okay. A finite dimensional inner product over the field of real numbers is called as an Euclidean space. A finite dimensional inner product space over the complex field is called as unitary space. Okay, that is real inner product spaces are nothing but Euclidean spaces. Complex inner product spaces are nothing but the unitary spaces. Is it clear up to this step to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now in today's lecture we will start with a theorem which actually gives us the fundamental properties of the inner product space. Therefore I will start today's lecture with a important theorem which is actually properties of inner product. Okay, therefore here if X is a complex inner product space, if X is a complex inner product space, in general if it was not mentioned whether the inner product is real or complex, then in general we will consider this to be a complex inner product space only. Okay, then prove that. What to prove? The first property to prove is inner product alpha x minus beta y together with z is alpha times inner product x with z minus beta times inner product y with z. This is the first property. Second property to prove is inner product x with beta y plus gamma z. That is linear combination is taken in the second coordinate. Okay, then our aim is to prove that this is beta bar inner product x with y plus gamma bar inner product x with z. Third, inner product x comma beta y minus gamma z is equals to beta bar inner product x with y minus gamma bar inner product x with z. Property number 4 to prove is inner product of x with 0 is 0 and inner product of 0 with x is equal to x. Okay, and these properties are true for all x, y, z belongs to the inner product spaces, and alpha, beta, gamma are the scalars taken from the field F. Here that field is nothing but the field of complex number. Okay, before going to prove these properties of the inner product spaces, we will just recall the property we have seen in the definition itself. What is the property we have seen? Inner product of alpha x plus beta y along with z is alpha times inner product x with z plus beta times inner product y with z. Therefore this property is in our hand. Using this property we will prove all the 4 properties given in the theorem. Okay, so let us start the proof of the theorem. Okay, let us start all the properties. I will write the property which is in our hand, that is inner product alpha x plus beta y along with z is alpha times inner product x with z plus beta times inner product y with z. I will just check whether any student is asking for the admission. Yeah, it is not. Okay. Okay. Now the aim is to prove the first property. The first property is alpha x minus beta y along with z. We want to prove this as a right shell. Now let us start step number 1 to prove the first property. What we should do in order to prove the first one? I will write to prove that alpha x minus beta y along with z is alpha inner product x along with z minus beta inner product y with z. Okay, to prove this, let us start with the left hand side of the equality. Therefore this is alpha x minus beta y along with z. Right, now what we will try to do, we will try to put this quantity in this format, that is we will put a plus sign in between. Therefore I will just write this as alpha x plus minus beta into y along with z. Right, therefore now we are ready to use this property, alpha x plus a scalar into y, beta y. Now what the property tells us, this is alpha x times, this is alpha times inner product x with z plus whatever is the scalar minus beta taken as it is inner product y with z. Therefore this automatically gives us alpha inner product x with z minus beta inner product y with z. Okay, here which property we have used? Linearity in first variable. Linearity in first variable is the property used. Right, now let us go to prove the second one. What is the second one? Just wait, we have directly reached to the last page of the presentation. What is the second one we want to prove? Inner product x with beta y plus z is equal to beta bar inner product x with y plus gamma bar inner product x with z. We will write this step. Step number 2 to prove. Step 2 to prove that inner product x with beta y plus gamma z is equal to beta bar inner product x with y plus gamma bar inner product x with z. To prove this, let me start with the left hand side. Therefore let us consider the left hand side of the equality, inner product x with beta y plus gamma z. Okay, now in order to use that linearity, the linear combination should be in the first variable. Therefore here I will use the property conjugate symmetry. Therefore I will take a conjugate and we will reverse the positions of the coordinates. Therefore this is beta y plus gamma z along with x. Which property I am using? Third property, conjugate symmetry. Symmetry is there with a conjugate. Therefore the name of the property is conjugate symmetry. Now we can use the linearity in first variable under conjugate sign itself. Therefore the linearity property tells us that this is inner product y with x plus gamma times inner product z with x. Right, now here which property we have used? Linearity in first variable. Okay, next step what we will do? We will just try to separate the conjugates. We know the fact. What we know the fact is z1 plus z2 conjugate is nothing but z1 bar plus z2 bar. With this property may I write this is beta inner product y with x bar added with conjugate of gamma z with x. Okay, now it's a time to use the property for the multiplication. Therefore we will separate for the multiplication as well. Therefore this is beta bar inner product y with x gamma bar into inner product z with x bar. Right, now what this conjugate symmetry property once again tells us, that this conjugate of yx is nothing but inner product x with y. Similarly conjugate of inner product z with x is inner product x with z. Hence it is the proof of the second property also. Is the screen clearly seen right now? Because today I am taking this trial on a Google Meet and we are recording the lecture simultaneously. Therefore, if
Yes,
there is
ma'am.
any problem along with my screen, you just please tell me.
No, ma'am, no problem.
No, ma'am.
Visible na?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Because generally we are doing it on Zoom na, but for Zoom there is a limitation of 40 minutes only. Therefore, that today I am making a trial, taking a lecture on Google Meet and recording as well. Okay, coming back again. Okay, properties are simple actually to prove, right? Therefore, thus we have proved this second property also, that inner product xv along with beta y plus gamma z is this much. Okay, now let us come to the third property. What is the third property? The third property is simply a change in this, instead of this positive sign there is a negative. Therefore, I will write the property again. This is x beta y minus gamma z is equal to beta bar inner product x with y minus gamma bar inner product x with z. Okay, now in the if we just look at this previous statement, we have same properties but only the changes of negative sign. Therefore, to prove this property, we will try to write this term as an addition. Correct na? Therefore, we will just try to write by considering the left hand side, no doubt, x beta y minus gamma z. We will try to write this second term as an addition. To write this, I will write as x beta y plus scalar, I will put it in a bracket with a negative sign. Therefore, this is minus gamma into z. Okay, now what this property, third property tells us, you can separate the using the you can use the linearity, rather conjugate linearity it is called, right? Therefore, here we can separate this as beta bar x with y plus minus gamma bar along x with z. But what is the value of negative and minus gamma bar? This is minus gamma bar, negative gamma bar. Therefore, shall I write this as minus gamma bar x with z. What property we have used? Conjugate of a negative sign is negative conjugate, right? Therefore, hence this is the proof of the third property also. Simple to prove. Now let us go for proving the fourth property. Fourth property tells us that inner product x with 0 is 0 and inner product 0 with x is 0. It simply means that in an inner product, if one of the vector is 0, then the resulting product must gives us the 0 value, which is also true in dot product and in the ordinary multiplication also, right? Let us prove this. Now, in order to prove this, what we will do a simple adjustment. Okay, let me first start with inner product 0 with x. Right, now what I will do, I will write this 0 as 0 into some vector y. Correct na? This is 0 into some vector. Here I write for some y in the inner product spaces. Right, now if I am writing this, here 0 plays a role like a scalar. Now we know with the linearity property, this scalar can be taken out. Therefore, I will write here it as 0 into inner product of y with x. This is a scalar now. 0 works as scalar. 0 work as scalar. Right. Now 0 into any scalar. What is inner product y with x? Inner product y with x is a fixed scalar. Now 0 into any scalar gives us the value 0. 0 into any scalar gives us the value 0. Hence we have proved inner product 0 with x is 0. Okay. Now let us prove inner product x with 0. But here now, as I have proved already this step, I will just use the conjugate. This is inner product 0 with x. But inner product 0 with x is 0. Rather it is 0 bar, but 0 bar is 0 because 0 is a real number. Hence all the four properties we have proved. All the four properties of the inner product we have proved. Any difficulty up to this? Is anyone having the difficulty in this theorem, particular theorem, which is actually properties of the inner product spaces?
No, ma'am.
No difficulty? Okay, then we will proceed further. Actually, with the help of these properties, we are going to write a remark. Okay, now the remark tells us about some more properties. Okay, first remark tells us that inner product of x with y plus z. What is the value? This can be found with the help of the first property we have proved. Oh no, second property. Second, inner product x with beta y plus gamma z. This is beta bar inner product x with y, gamma bar inner product x with z. But here if we observe, the scalars used are the real numbers. The scalars used are the real number. That is, I can write this as 1 dot y plus 1 dot z. Students are requested to join early. Okay? Right. Now, these scalars are 1 and 1, and according to that second statement, those can be taken out with the conjugate. But as those are the real numbers, there is no need to write a conjugate itself. Therefore, may I write directly this is inner product x with y plus inner product x with z. Okay, this is simple too. Or one can write here 1 bar, 1 bar. But 1 bar is 1. 1 into inner product of x with y is x inner product itself. This is what a proof, right? And this, whatever the property we have used, that second property. Which property I am saying? Inner product x with beta y plus gamma z. This we have proved beta bar inner product x with y, gamma bar inner product x with z. This property is called as conjugate linearity. In second variable. Okay, we know that linearity holds in the first variable itself, but with this property one can say that conjugate linearity is going to hold in the second variable. Why the word conjugate linearity occurs? Because in linearity we are taking the scalars as it is out of the inner product, but here we are taking the scalars with their conjugates. That is, this scalar beta is taken out with a conjugate. This scalar gamma is taken out with its conjugate, as both the scalars are involved in the second variable. That's why the name of the property is this property is conjugate linearity in second variable. Let us try to understand the third remark. What is the third remark? Third remark tells us that if inner product x with y is 0 for all x in x, then what will happen? That is, if we are taking a inner product, that is a multiplication of two vectors x and y, and for every x the value of y is 0, but as we have proved in the fourth property, inner product will be 0 if one of the vector is 0. That is, either second variable should be 0 or first variable should be 0. But here in this remark we are saying for every x this is 0, therefore the only possibility remains with us that the second variable must be 0. The second variable must be 0. If inner product x with y is 0 for all x in x, then y is equal to 0. Okay, because as I am saying for all x, then this x may be 0, may not be 0, right? Therefore one vector we should have fixedly 0. Therefore inner product x with y is equal to 0 for all x in x, then y must be 0. One of the vector must be 0. This is what we want to say. Okay, this is what the properties we have seen of the inner product. I hope there is no difficulty. If you have a difficulty, you can please unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, I will proceed to the next example of an inner product spaces. If you have a difficulty, please unmute and talk to me. Otherwise, we will go for the next example. Should I assume there is no difficulty?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Now let us go to an example. First example of the inner product spaces. Okay, what to prove? The space L2n is an inner product space. Inner product space where inner product x with y is defined as summation I from 1 to n xi yi y. Okay, what about x? X is an n-tuple vector, x1, x2 up to xn. Y is an n-tuple vector, y1, y2 up to yn. Our aim is to prove that L2n is an inner product spaces. We have seen the space LPN. Okay, now we are going for the particular range of L2n spaces. What L2n spaces gives us? Summation mod xi square is less than infinity for I equals to 1 to n. Right now? Mod xi square. 2 is there, no? This 2 gives me summation mod xi square is less than infinity. That is, it takes some finite value. It takes some finite value. In LPN spaces, here we have written P. Instead of this 2, we have written P. Okay. Now our job is to prove that this L2n is an inner product space where the product is given to us as following. Right. Now in order to prove this to be an inner product space, what one should do? One should just verify all the properties of the inner product. Therefore, we will go for verifying all the properties of the inner product spaces one by one. Okay. Step 1. First property we will prove. What is the first property to prove? Inner product x with x is always non-negative. Inner product x along with itself is always non-negative. This is what we want to prove. Let us start. Okay, the pen is not writing. Let us start. Inner product x with x. Now if you just observe the definition of inner product given to us, this is xi into yi bar. Means we have to consider ith coordinate of both the vectors, and for the second vector it should be with the conjugate. Therefore, may I write here the definition as summation I equals to 1 to n. This is xi into xi bar. Right now? But xi into xi bar is always mod xi square. Right now? Mod xi square. Mod xi is always non-negative. Square is non-negative. Sum of non-negative terms is non-negative. Therefore, this is greater or equal by 0. That is, together in all, one can say inner product x with itself is non-negative. Inner product x with itself is non-negative. First property we have verified. Let us move towards the second property. What to prove in the second one? Inner product x with x is equal to 0 implies and implied by x is equal to 0. Consider. What is inner product x with x is equal to 0 gives us, according to this definition, this is summation I equals to 1 to n mod xi square is equals to 0. Now just have a look. This is actually a summation of the non-negative terms which is equal to 0. That is, if the sum of non-negative terms is equals to 0, this is possible if and only if every term involved in the sum is 0. Therefore, may I write this is mod xi square is equal to 0, which is implies an implied y. Mod xi is equal to 0. Let us come to the next page, which is implies an implied y. Xi is equals to 0 for all I equals to 1 to n. Let us continue. If xi is 0 for all I means every coordinate of the vector x is 0. Therefore, may I write it is equal to x is equal to 0. Hence, we have proved the second property also, that is inner product x along with itself is equal to 0, then x is equals to 0. Means positive definiteness is true in the case of this inner product spaces. Let us come to the third property to prove. What is the third property? Conjugate symmetry to prove. To prove that inner product x with y conjugate is inner product y with x. Inner product x with y conjugate is inner product y with x. Okay, let us start to prove the result. Just I start with inner product x with y, it's a conjugate. Okay, definition tells us, I'll write in a conjugate itself. Definition is summation I equals to 1 to n xi yi bar. Xi yi bar. We will just try to elaborate the term. This is x1 y1 bar, x2 y2 bar till xn yn bar, and everything is in the conjugate. Right. Now it's a time to use the conjugate property in case of the additions. Therefore, we will just separate the additions. Right. Therefore, I will write this as x1 y1 bar conjugate plus x2 y2 bar conjugate added with xn yn bar along with the conjugate. Right. Next, we will use the conjugate property in case of the multiplication also. Here, which property shall I write it in detail? This is z1 plus z2 conjugate bar is equal to z1 bar plus z2 bar. Now, we will use the same property in case of multiplication. Therefore, this is x1 bar into y1 bar and bar. 2 times a bar, therefore the number itself. Therefore, shall I write x2 bar y2 and so on. Property we have used is z1 z2 bar is z1 bar z2 bar. Okay. Now, as we are in the vector spaces, we know that addition is commutative, multiplication is commutative, addition is also commutative. Therefore, here we will use multiplication commutative property. We will just interchange the positions. Therefore, I will write this as y1 x1 bar, y2 x2 bar till yn xn bar. Okay, and as per the definition, this gives us, okay, I'll write in the summation first. This is yi xi bar. Summation I is from 1 to n, and according to the definition, this is nothing but inner product y with x. We have started with inner product x with y conjugate, and we have proved it as inner product y with x. Therefore, the third property of the inner product satisfies. Okay. Now, let us go to a step number 4, linearity in first variable. Therefore, what to prove? Inner product alpha x plus beta y along with z is equal to alpha times inner product x with z plus beta times inner product y with z. Okay. To prove this, no doubt we are going to start with the left hand side again. Consider inner product alpha x plus beta y along with z, right? According to the definition, we should consider ith coordinate of first vector into conjugate of ith coordinate of the second vector. What is the ith coordinate of first vector? For this term, alpha and beta are the fixed scalars. Therefore, the ith coordinate is written as alpha xi plus beta yi. Is that fine? Into conjugate or ith coordinate of the second vector. This is what the definition says. This is read by definition. Right now, shall I write the definition also? Remember, x with y is summation ith coordinate of first vector into conjugate of ith coordinate of the second vector. This is what we have done here. No doubt, I is running from 1 to n. Next, now we will just multiply by the vector zi bar to the product, the bracket. This is alpha xi zi bar plus beta yi zi bar. Okay. Next, now summation is running over I. The scalars we have used alpha and beta are independent of I. Therefore, we can take it out. We will separate the summation over addition also. Let us do both the sets simultaneously. Therefore, I will write this as summation I equal to 1 to n xi zi bar plus beta times summation yi zi bar. I is equals to 1 to n. Right? Next, this first bracket gives us the inner product of x with z by definition. Therefore, this is inner product x with z. Similarly, second summation gives us inner product y with z. We have started with alpha x plus beta y together with z. Hence, we have proved the linearity property in first variable also. Thus, all conditions of inner product satisfies. All conditions of inner product are satisfied. Hence, the given space L2n is an inner product space. Is an inner product space. Okay. Any difficulty with the first example? Okay. Actually, in order to check whether the given example is an example of an inner product space or not, every time it is not necessary to verify all the conditions. There is actually one law we are going to prove called as a parallelogram law. If any inner product is going to satisfy parallelogram law, it gives us a inner product. If it doesn't satisfy, it is not the inner product. This is what we will discuss it later. Okay. Okay. Whenever we have seen the real numbers, then inner product is nothing but an ordinary multiplication. Okay. And in this example itself, this is an example of an Rn space, subset of an Rn space. Here we have proved. Now in the same example, if we just remove the conjugate of yi, you have to check whether it is still an inner product. Here, this is today's example, homework you can say. Here, if you remove bar, that is writing simply xi yi, then will it be an inner product is an example to check. And if we remove that bar, this gives us a ordinary dot. This gives us the ordinary dot product of the two vectors. Okay. Any difficulty up to this? Yeah, students, is there any difficulty up to this?
No, ma'am.
Good, na? Now we will just try to understand the definition of an Hilbert spaces. Okay. Yesterday itself I have told what is the Hilbert space. Just now we have seen the definition of inner product spaces. Hilbert spaces are defined as complete inner product spaces. Okay. I will just pin myself again. Therefore, we will define Hilbert spaces. Okay, Hilbert spaces are defined as a linear space is said to be Hilbert space if it is complete inner product space. It is complete inner product space. Okay, and now we will see some basic inequalities or the properties satisfied by the Hilbert spaces. First and foremost property, or the first property one can say, is to understand the relation between norm and inner product. Is to understand the relation between norm and inner product. We are going to derive the relation between norm and inner product very similar to the relation between dot product and the modulus. Okay, what is the relation between dot product and modulus? Can anyone tell me? If I take x dot x, what will happen? If I take x dot x, may I write this as mod x square, just in order to develop the relation between modulus and dot product, because we know modulus itself is one kind of norm. Okay, therefore may I write mod x as square root x dot x, is square root x dot x. Okay, therefore this modulus is a special norm, is the special norm, and this is nothing but a dot product. This is nothing but the dot product. Now we know modulus is generalized, the distance, modulus is giving us actually shortest distance. Therefore this modulus is generalized to norm x, and this dot product is generalized to inner product spaces. Therefore we just follow the same relation, that is norm x is equal to inner under root inner product xx, or one can write norm square of x is equal to inner product x with x. This is as simple as that, right? This relation we have derived just by observing the relation between modulus and dot product. Mod x is under root x dot x. Similarly, one can write norm x is equals to under root inner product x with x, under root x with x. Okay, any problem up to this? Is there any difficulty up to this? Otherwise we will stop for today. And actually I have announced a test of functional analysis that I am going to conduct at the month end, 30 October. Is this time is sufficient to you all for seeing all the lectures? Yes, someone please speak with me. Okay, on 30 October I am going to conduct a test on the first topic of Banach spaces. Any problem, any difficulty? For this you must watch all the lectures of functional analysis till today. The syllabus will be up to Hahn-Banach theorem, including Hahn-Banach theorem. Yeah, is it so? Is there any difficulty?
Ma'am, what will be the pattern?
MCQ I am planning now. because it is not possible to take a feasible test by writing.
Okay, ma'am.
MCQ probably we will prepare. If any changes, I will inform you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. If there is no difficulty, we will stop for today. Thank you for watching the lecture. Thank you for being with me for the today's lecture. From tomorrow onwards, we will take the live lectures only. Okay. Thank you all. You can leave the meeting now.